Okay, wagon ho!
A group of covered wagons used to carry people and supplies is quite simply called a wagon train. On a long journey, there might have been 200 wagons that would form a train, but it would not have been uncommon to have had only about 20.
The early pioneers crossing this vast desert had a tremendous journey to endure. Hi, I'm Barb Henderson, host of Clark County Outdoors. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we're joining up with a wagon train as they travel across Clark County. But like most of our shows, it doesn't start without a hitch. Back when the early settlers came through here, they probably wouldn't have used a horse quite this size. But it's nice to know when you come through the desert sand that you have this horsepower in front of you.
This small group of wagon train enthusiasts here in Clark County hitched their wagons to their mules and horses to enjoy their travel back in time for a 3-day wagon train adventure that would cover close to 30 miles.
These are Belgian horses, work horses, and they'll weigh about 24 to 100 pounds. And this little wagon they don't even feel it back here. It's just a little light pull for them. You have to have the shoes on them, and you have to know how to bridle them, and you always have one horse on the right, and you keep him on the right. Harnesses are adjusted to fit the size of the horses. One horse may be a little bigger than the other one. So you have to have the harness, and you always put one horse on the right, one on the left. You never switch them around, and that way they learn as a team, a unit, and they can just go right down the road pulling together, right in step. So you have to keep the horses healthy, and of course we feed them real well and grade them, and you can see how heavy and strong and muscular they are, and that makes a difference. You curry them down at night, and make sure you have plenty of water and plenty of hay and feed for them. Well, a big horse like these, Belgians here, they'll drink 5 gallons at a time. That's a glassful for them. So you got to keep them happy and exercised, and the more you do it, the more they stay in shape. Most wagon trains can go anywhere from 25 to 28 miles a day, depending on the train. And this is kind of easy desert, high desert country where the roads are pretty much in gravel washes. And so we just kind of move along gradual, and we don't have any trouble. So far with these 5 teams, we've not had any accidents or any problems to speak of. This is my 4th year doing this particular wagon train, but this is the 7th wagon train I've been on. I've been on the Utah Centennial. Whoa, boys. The Utah Centennial. I've been on the up through Nevada. I've been on the Oregon Trail. I've been on the Sesquicentennial, 10 days coming into Salt Lake City in 1997. And at one time, on that Sesquicentennial wagon train, we had 57 teams. So this is a fairly small wagon train, but we have probably 40 horses and mules here this weekend on this train. And a lot of horse riders that like to come down. We have people here from the state of Washington, and people here from Oregon, Arizona, Wyoming. Yeah, boys. And Nevada. Most of us here in Nevada are from right here in Clark County. It's getting to be quite a hobby. There's not many, wagon trains around anymore, and just the last few years, there's been quite a bit of interest in it. So Barb, it's just like a guy that if he plays golf, he loves to go to different golf courses. And I like the outdoors, and so we try to go to different places each year. I've been on the Oregon Trail and in Arizona and Utah, And we try to go to a different place each year so that we can see the terrain. And Clark County, believe it or not, around Lake Mead has some beautiful country to see. This is called the Scenic Byway Trail. And as long as we kind of stay in the bushes and on the designated trails, why horse-drawn vehicles, there's no problem. I can haul 10 people pretty comfortable in this little wagon. And this stuff you see on the floor, this old sheepskin, we put that up on the bench here, and the people sit on it, and it makes it pretty comfortable. A lot of times you wondered why they walked and why they had hand carts and things like that. Well, it was those old iron-tired wheels going across rocks and out through the desert and the high mountain terrain. It was rough riding. So they had their belongings in there and kept that safe, but a lot of times they'd get out and walk. A lot of pioneers walked for miles and miles and miles across the United States to get out west. They would haul all their belongings in a covered wagon, and it might consist of a cabinet, maybe an old trunk, and a few dishes and pots and pans to eat out of each night, and a few Dutch ovens. Now we cook with Dutch ovens, but we haul them in our four-wheel drive pickups and get to where we want to go, and then it's much easier. We don't have to load them in and out of the wagons. Okay, wagon ho! I like the outdoors, and there's not much of it left anymore, and so in this country, this time of year, around Easter, we love to get out in a wild country like this, where there's a lot of color, and the weather's about right, and we go down through the Gold Butte Range, down what they call Bitter Wash, and end up at Lone Palm. A lot of red sandstone formations. Right up around the corner here, why there's some petroglyphs. I love to drive the teams. It's just relaxing to get in the shade here and hear those wagon wheels roll down the country. This is kind of a family thing. A lot of kids, Easter weekend likes to get out and have Easter egg hunts and do a little camping, and so we include the kids, and it's good, clean entertainment. We have kids here that are 5 years old that can handle their own horse. Several little fellows here riding mules, and that's how they learn to take care of animals. They watch us hitch them, and it won't be many years, and if they keep watching, they'll learn how to do it.
Her name is Nicholas, and she likes to run a lot. I like her because she likes to be nice to me, and she is about 7, and she would lift her foot up for me so her feet don't get soles in them.
I don't know if it's from the dusty trail or just being out in the sun all day, but is this a palm tree over my left shoulder?
We call this Lone Palms area. And for the first people that came down here, this palm tree was just small. And it's probably 50 years old now. But anyway, it's part of the grass family, and you can see the water oozing out there. I suspect that a bird brought a seed and dropped it there, and there was enough moisture in the bank that came out, it started to grow. And through the years, it's gotten bigger. Now it has seed pods on it in the spring of the year, most of the time, and the birds will get the seeds and they'll go along here and they'll try to find some water. And now you'll see a palm tree right here, a palm tree there, and around the corner some more palm trees. There's 5 or 6 palm trees now. Instead of lone palm, it's lone palms.
You were telling me there's an actual spring over here. Let's walk over and check it out.
Yeah, we'll walk over there and look at it. Barb, this is the spring I was telling you about here. And the water seeps out from underneath that great big boulder right up there, that big sandstone. And I would imagine that it rains up above, comes out these little pores in this sandstone formation, and then comes down through here. Now, later on in the fall, there probably won't be a drop here, but there's enough moisture in this mountain and in these cliffs that seeps out. That's why the palm trees will grow, and they get enough moisture for them, probably. Now, on over there, there's another little spring just like this.
Well, I say we mosey back to the group.
Sounds good to me.
Early pioneer wagons were pulled by ox teams, horse teams, and mule teams. So what do you have to do to unhitch a mule?
Well, the first thing you do is, normally, is you want to get your tugs unhooked so that you are not in an exposed danger situation. Once that's unhooked, why, they can run away from the thing and take the neck yoke, but they're not going to your wagon. So you always unhook your tugs first, and then your neck yoke, and then when you hook up, you do it in the opposite order, and hook up that neck yoke first, and then your tugs, so that they're not running away down the road with the tongue dragging in the dirt. No steering, no control, it's just looking for a wreck. Unhook your lines and wrap them up on your, through the hames and over the top so that they're hanging. And then you undo your belly band and your neck yoke strap. And then you undo your holdback straps.
A lot of straps.
Yeah, now all of these straps have adjustments to them so that you can fit different animals, and then your leather shrinks and stretches with the use and the moisture and everything. And so it's a kind of a constant thing to adjust harnesses. And you have a crupper strap around their tail that holds, and this breeching strap around their rear quarters, and that's your brakes. If you're properly adjusted, the weight of the wagon transfers through the tongue and back to the back of the animal so that they have holdback power, and then your wagon brakes are available for emergencies.
And how fast does a wagon go? How long would it take to, say, get 10 miles?
Well, a team of horses or mules on a level ground, good surface, not necessarily hard surfaced road, but a good stable road, not sand, they'll walk along about 4 miles an hour. Of course, you've got to stop for rests and things, and so you don't average quite that much. But if you average, like I say, 3 to 4 miles an hour, 3.5 miles an hour with any kind of a load in a wagon, then you're doing okay.
A very slow pace.
Yes. He's going to roll because he's all hot and sweaty, and he may even squish his tail around in the dust to create some fine dust. And that flops the dust over on where he's sweaty, dries out the moisture, kind of keeps the flies away when they're bad, helps to. And these mules just live to hurry and roll as quick as you get the harness off from them. As I travel through this Clark County area, we get to reminisce and to think back about what it was like for those original people to come through here and see country that had never been really crossed by man in modern history, and experience a little bit of the trials that they had about the hot, dry climate that sucks all the moisture out of your wagon wheels and dries them up, and it's a challenge for both the teamster and the team to make it day to day as we travel along. And we appreciate more what our ancestors did and accomplished that we might be able to settle this western United States.
As we come to the end of the old dusty trail, we now have a better appreciation for what the early settlers must have gone through. For now, I'm going to kick back, relax, and wait for the sun to set.
In the evenings, these back-in-time travelers recamp under the stars, have great entertainment around the campfire, and enjoy delicious, hearty meals prepared and cooked in Dutch ovens.
Stir them up real good.
Now,
Okay,
what do we
this
have
is
here?
chicken. It's getting ready there. It's browning on top and bottom.
How long does it take to cook chicken for a group this size?
And it'll take about 35 minutes to cook this. And you'll see every once in a while we'll pull that off when that gets too hot and relieve a little bit of the heat. Okay. On the bottom, it's sizzling pretty good now, so it's cooking faster on the bottom than it is on the top. So we'll just take them off and let them cool off a little bit on the bottom.
What size are these ovens?
These are 14 inches, and they're lodges. They're all lodges. Lodges seem to have the best finish on the inside. This chicken's been breaded with Italian breadcrumbs and flour and salt and pepper.
Do you do the cooking at home too?
About half. I do the spaghetti, my wife does the rest.
So now how do you make these potatoes, Matt?
We're giving you up all our secrets.
Yeah, exactly.
What we do first is cut up good bacon. Put it in the oven while the oven's hot and let the oven brown that bacon a little bit, and then we add our onions to it until they're about cooked, and then we'll add a little bit of water and the potatoes. And then all we need to do is salt and pepper and put them to the heat and they'll cook.
So what size is this oven?
This is about a 22 inch. It's homemade. My dad built it out of a weld casing. And we just bent some handles on it and some feet to keep it up off the coals and a big handle. And
now, you know those are done when the potatoes kind of break up, right?
yeah, when they start breaking up. And we don't want them quite like mashed potatoes, but we like them to be soft.
The cobbler sounds kind of good. I think I'll walk over there and see where they're at on the cobbler.
Okay,
Thanks,
they're right
Matt.
over the camper.
Okay.
Well, you did both, right?
So the first
Okay.
thing you're going to do is put the foil down, then you put the pie filling down on top of the foil on the bottom.
Right.
And that looks like cherry and peach yum. Okay, now this is just a regular cake mix, right?
White cake mix or yellow cake mix. Sorry, I don't want to pour that on you. Okay, let's find some place to put that. And spread the cake mix over the top. Let's get it evenly for both sides.
Do you cook at home?
I do. My specialties are pancakes and barbecue.
Do you do the dishes as well?
Only when I have to. Okay, that looks like it ought to do. Okay, so then we put the lid on it, take it over and put coals on the bottom.
Let's do it.
Okay, Brandy, when I leave, you can do the rest. Thank you. Ready, Matt? Okay. There you go.
Okay, well, thanks for sharing your secret recipe with us.
You're very welcome.
I want to ride and yodel while I'm riding on those wide rolling plains. I want to ride with my cowgirl beside me on those wide rolling plains.
Those potatoes that Matt made? really good.
Make some hay, got no time to waste. I'm gonna catch that westbound train and settle down, down in some little cow town on those wide rolling plains. Hiddy-little-oo, hey-hey-oh-la-doo, oh-la-doo, hiddy-little-oo, hiddy-little-oo, hey-hey-oh-la-doo, oh-la-doo, oh-la-doo. I want to ride, ride, and yodel while I'm riding on those wide rolling plains. I want to ride, ride with my cowgirl beside me on those wide rolling plains. Let the world go by 'neath the sunny sky where it never, never rains. And I will ride, ride, and yodel while I'm riding on those wide rolling plains. Hee-la-little-oo, hey-hey-oh-la-doo-dee, oh-la-doo-doo, hey-dee-la-little-oo-dee, hey-dee-la-little-oo, hey-la-doo, oh-la-doo-dee, oh-la-doo-doo, oh-la-doo. Thank you.
They headed out the canyon. Late autumn in the snow. The old prospector and his mule was loaded and traveling slow. He buttoned down his collar and his hat held down like glue. And they headed straight for Elko because they wanted to. He chewed a twist of something that most surely curled your hair. His long beard matched his steel gray eyes with their penetrating stare. He moved with calm demeanor. He seemed fearless through and through. And they headed straight for Elko because they wanted to. His mule was short and wiry. His face was long and sad. He had a way of moving a lot like his owner had. They seemed to fit together and their partnership was true. And they headed straight for Elko
because they wanted to.
When they hoofed it into Elko, some cowboys gathered around. They was fresh in off the trail and they was shooting up the town. When they spied that old prospector, they decided what they'd do. And they circled up around him because they wanted to. One asked the old prospector, "Have you ever learnt to dance?" "No," he said real cautious, "I ain't never had the chance." So that cowboy pulled his 6-gun and said, "I'm up to teaching you." And he danced that night in Elko, just like he wanted to. Yeah, he danced and dodged them bullets until he counted 6. Then he ceased to dance. He stepped quickly to his mule and his shotgun in his hand he held. His voice was calm and cool. He said, "Now, Sonny, let me ask you, have you ever kissed a mule?" The young man's face contorted as he pondered his disgrace, and he stared with concentration at that shotgun in his face. He cleared his throat before he spoke. His voice rang sharply through. "No, I ain't never kissed no mule, but I've always wanted to." So, thank you. Thank you.
With the remarkable moonlit sky and millions of twinkling stars above, and enjoying the camaraderie of good folk, what a spectacular end to an enjoyable journey in Clark County outdoors.